Are you awake? Did you
Barely.
sleep? Did you get caught up?
No.
Time for thinkingrealestate.com.
Drove all night getting in.
Starring Laura Dwyer-Slecki. Husband Bill today, co-starring.
Co-starring. Yep, exactly.
Or
Here he
we
is.
might have to flip-flop that.
Depends on who talks more, right?
That's right.
Uh-huh. Well, he just got back from pheasant hunting.
Where?
Where did you go?
South Dakota.
And how'd you do?
Very well.
Actually, what's the count? How many did you bring home?
I'm not able to say.
'Cause
I don't know. There were a couple guys hunting, and so we just brought them home. But the dog was great. That's the best part of pheasant hunting. Watching the dog. You don't even have to kill a pheasant in order to enjoy it. You just have a good time watching that dog work, and you know how much the dog enjoys it.
So I was on vacation for a few days.
Well,
Just vacation at home.
congratulations.
Yeah, she was hoping that Dick Cheney was in our group and that one of us wouldn't have come back.
Oh, that's not true. That's not true. But so there were a couple of things that I read while you were gone, which I found interesting. Did you know that the average FICO score for all loans closed in Ellie Mae's most current report is 750?
No clue.
But the
Because I don't
average...
get involved in that at all. That's not my
Well, I know,
bailiwick.
but the average score and the average denial score is 704. So most people...
That seems high.
It is. I think that's high, too.
Yeah, but wait a second, guys. The Bank of America was just sued by the Justice Department for $1 billion for selling bad loans to Fannie Mae. So when you talk about lending criteria these days, you have to have an appreciation for how bad it got just before they crashed. So Bank of America picked up Countrywide, picked up bad loans. So we're still trying to work our way out of a terrible, terrible mess. The lenders had to increase their criteria because of regulatory requirements. You cannot fault the banks.
Well, although they say Fannie Mae or FHA's minimum credit score is 640.
That might be, but there were so many loans that were made to people who you even said in the days before the crash should not have been getting mortgages, that now we're still in the throes of working out of that terrible, terrible abyss.
Well, let me put this into perspective. So if the average score that they gave loans to was 750, the average denial score was 704. Ages 25 to 34, the average credit score is 649. 35 to 45 is 645. 45 to 54 is 658, and 55 and older is 691.
So nobody gets a loan.
Right, that's exactly right.
Good time to buy a rental property, isn't it?
Which I mentioned to someone yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. You may be moving from a society in which the dream of home ownership is not really a realistic objective anymore when we may be moving to a rental society. It really is difficult to get a home loan, and you do have to worry about your credit score. And you have to worry. It's difficult.
There was also another article that had said that the younger generation, the Gen Y, what are you, Jackie? Gen X? Gen Y and Gen X still have the dream of home ownership, so that this is just statistics.
Well, it's good to have the dream, and that may change. I mean, you got to understand, this is a long process. We just did something before the real estate meltdown that was very, very bad. That's not going to happen again. So the amount of time it's going to take to recover is anybody's guess. At some point, it may become more realistic. But when you read statistics like that, you just have to wonder, how is somebody going to afford to buy a home without that good credit, which means that they're going to be renting. Got to have a place to live, and it's got to be someplace other than under an expressway overpass. We hope.
And we're losing one of those in Jackson County.
Well, yeah, we're going to have a few more homeless people looking for a place to live.
They're filling that one in over there by Sargent Road with dirt. Have you seen
yeah,
it? It's really interesting to watch.
Well, what do you tell your clients if they want to buy a house and they have a 700 credit score?
Or below 704?
Yeah.
Well, we've got some good qualified clients right now we can't find houses for. because we don't have enough houses on the market.
But that was not my question.
Right.
Wait, what do you think you are? Remember the press interviewing
right.
Obama
Be
or
specific,
Romney?
yeah.
Come on.
I try and connect my clients with a lender that will work with them.
Okay.
You first have to know where you stand. I talked to someone yesterday who went through a short sale 11 months ago. They talked with one of the lenders I recommended, and he's going to keep in touch with them probably once every 6 months, maybe, depending on how long out they are from getting a mortgage. They're about 2 years out from getting a mortgage, an FHA mortgage. If they go conventional, it's 5 to 7 years, which I find interesting. That the government
Because of the short sale.
Because of the short sale, but they have to. You first have to know where you stand, and then we can help you get in touch with the right person to guide you along, and then we'll know how far out you are.
Well, the other thing that's helping too is the improvement in the economy in Michigan. I mean, in order to be able to qualify for a loan, your credit score is going to be based upon your income, having a job, etc. And the Michigan economy has been rebounding very, very significantly.
Yeah.
So that's going to help. In some other states, maybe not so hot, but Michigan certainly has rebounded tremendously as a result of the coming back of the automobile industry.
Yeah, and I talked to a company yesterday that is leasing some of their buildings, which means there may be three brand new companies coming into the city.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
And
Do you have more?
Not yet, but that's as much as I can eke out.
Okay.
Well, and what
You'd
I
have
do,
to shoot me.
Yeah, right.
what I do is more commercial, non-residential stuff, and I do it throughout the state, and I'm seeing activity in a variety of locations. I've got clients who are doing projects out on the west side, the northwest side, the southeast quadrant, Ann Arbor. I'm trying to think, I've got one deal going in Jackson as well. So that's a change from what it was just 12 months ago when there was very little transactional activity. So when you know that the last part to come back is the commercial industrial marketplace, and that is now seeing signs of life. So things are improved greatly in Michigan, I would say. Not without problems, and
Right.
thank goodness people are still suing other people, because that's how I make my livelihood, really. And the conflict will always exist, thank goodness.
So another story I read was, do you want to take that, should we take that call first? Is that a call or is it
Do you
just
want to take a call?
Sure, we'll take that before I get to the next
We'll
one.
try it. Good morning.
Good morning, Greg. Hey, Rob, you really got the economy going now? Pretty.
So the other story that I read was that, the Attorney General,
That wasn't a call.
yeah, I figured that.
That was a
The Attorney
political
General
commentary.
sued the 5 big banks, right? Chase, Bank of America, Ally, Citi, and Wells Fargo. And we got a settlement. And every state participated in that lawsuit except for one, which I find this interesting. Oklahoma is the only state that didn't participate in that. Do you know how much the average, the one the Attorney General was involved in, do you know what the average household will get that qualifies for the check from those 5 big banks?
I'm getting the sense this is a rhetorical question, because
Okay.
I have no clue, but you must have the answer.
$840. If you qualify, so if you went to try and get a loan modification and you didn't get it, that falls under this lawsuit. That's what, and you'll get a letter. In fact, I had a client who got a letter. They emailed it to me, and I had it confirmed. $840 if everybody applies for the money that qualifies. If they don't, you'll get a little bit more. Oklahoma, average household is going to get $5,000 to $20,000 because they sued those 5 big banks separately. Isn't that interesting? I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
It's just fascinating.
You're a lawyer. I mean, you come on.
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of difference in money for settlement of the same lawsuit.
Well, give credit to the Oklahoma Attorney General, State Attorney General. There you go.
And to have enough guts to say, I'm not going to follow the crowd, we're going to do our own thing.
So you're telling me I should move to Oklahoma?
No, I thought that was interesting. Did you have anything specific you wanted to talk about?
Not in the least. I just got back from South Dakota. I'm still trying to wake up.
Wow. Okay.
I drove all night Monday night on I-80. So
Okay.
I was the
And it was raining,
I was a
right?
lone automobile amongst a sea of trucks.
Okay, so another question. I had a call from a friend of ours
Right on.
yesterday. He owns a house in the city. He has since abandoned that house and bought a foreclosure.
Demolish it. Just demolish it. That's all you need to do. Go
And
ahead.
the city has tagged it.
All right.
And
For demolition.
For demolition, of course. And I talked to the city. There's several violations, obviously, if it's demolitionable.
Okay.
It's about $80,000 worth of repair.
Okay.
And
Demolish
they
it
were
and farm it.
they were
Farm it.
encouraging him.
Raise pheasants on it.
Somebody was encouraging him to pay the taxes on it
Okay.
and then give it. Then the city would take it back. But I said he's got a mortgage on it.
I don't understand. This is the owner of it, but he's abandoned it, and
Right.
somebody's advising him to pay the taxes on it. Mm-hmm.
And I said
for what
my
purpose?
advice was to call the bank and tell him to foreclose on it and take it back.
Okay, yeah, back up for a second. Why is someone telling him to pay the taxes on it?
Well, I don't think they realized there was a mortgage on the house.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a
property, so
mortgage on it, he's got to pay the mortgage in order to salvage the property.
he has no interest in salvaging the property.
He just wants to pay taxes because
No,
he's a
he
good
doesn't-
public.
No,
He's
no,
the
he was
public
asking
interest.
for.
He's a good citizen.
Shh. He was asking for. This is what our household is like. Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall?
It's like Ricky and Lucy.
Yeah.
Jeez. Hey, have you decided
More-
who's the star and who's the
More
co-star?
like you're too young to remember the Bickersons.
Oh, no.
the Bickersons. That's what the Bickersons were.
But so
Yeah.
can he give a deed in lieu to the bank without their approval, or can he do it?
No. In order to give a deed in lieu, in order to give anybody a deed, the person has to be willing to accept it. Let's suppose my property is contaminated. I no longer want it, so I'm going to give it to somebody I don't like, right? So I do it. I write a deed and I record it with a register of deeds. And now the person's got a contaminated property and shows up as a record owner. The DEQ comes after him, says you got $1 million cleanup. Person knows nothing about it. It's not a valid conveyance. In order to have a valid conveyance, you must have the deed. You must have an intent to convey, and the person has to accept the conveyance.
Okay, so what would you advise him to do? He doesn't want the house. He can't sell it. I mean, nobody would. We'd have to do a short sale, and I can't believe.
He can contact the bank and ask if the bank will accept a deed in lieu. The problem is if he is collectible. The
He's
bank.
not.
Well, if he's not collectible, go to the bank. If there's no junior lien, then the bank may accept the deed in lieu. The reason that a bank typically will not accept a deed in lieu is because there is a junior lien that will not be wiped out by giving a deed in lieu. It has to go through the foreclosure, and the period of redemption must run in order to wipe out the second mortgage or a federal tax lien, a state tax lien, any other lien that's on there. That's why a bank won't accept it. The bank, if the person is not collectible and there are no junior liens, he stands a good chance of getting it to accept the deed in lieu. If there are no junior liens and he is collectible, then he may get the bank to accept the deed in lieu if he also agrees to sign a promissory note or pays a little bit to satisfy at least a portion of the loan. Also, you find out that the bank, in certain circumstances where there is no deed in lieu, where the property is resaleable by the bank, they may actually pay the borrower a small amount of money, $3,000, $5,000, some small amount of money, to get the borrower to move out of the property without the necessity of going through the actual foreclosure or the period of redemption. He needs to contact the bank, see what it's willing to do. If he doesn't, and he's not collectible, he can just walk away and let him try and collect. But
Does he have to
his credit rating's
disclose?
trashed, by the way.
Well,
Is he walking away?
he
and-
hasn't
and
made
not
the
paying-
mortgage. He hasn't made the mortgage payment. I think he told me in 2 years,
Well,
and they
isn't it-
haven't notified him that it's being foreclosed
Well,
yet.
but that's not that unusual. I've got
Right.
Really?
I've
2
got-
years?
I have a few deals. I have one where they started a foreclosure in 2008. We battled the foreclosure, got it dismissed. We waited around for the other shoe to drop. This is a property up north. Waited around for the other shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop. They finally started another foreclosure in 2011. This loan was in default since 2007. And we just negotiated oddly enough, deed in lieu of foreclosure that we consummated last week. And I got the deed, signed deed in the FedEx yesterday. So, yeah, lenders sometimes are taking their time in terms of figuring out what to do with the property. I think that's changing these days now. You're finding more forceful, quicker action on the part of lenders because they've sort of gotten used to what the marketplace is. They see the marketplace coming back. they now either want to get the loan paid, get it current, or get the borrower out of there and the property on the market is what's known as an REO, or real estate owned property.
Are you taking calls?
Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi. My gosh, you've answered my question before I could answer. Yes, I can't believe that.
Well,
That's just how we roll here.
Bill's a mystic.
That's right. It just came out of the woodwork. That's great. We appreciate listening to you and all you do. So do you think the banks may be waiting for the market to come up before they take action?
well, it kind of looks that way. I mean, we've had several short sales where the bank refuses to negotiate. I have a house listed on Skyline. We get two offers at $85,000, a cash offer at $80,000. The bank refuses to go below $93,000. And I can guarantee you when they foreclose on that, they may put it on the market at 95 or something like that, but I don't think they'll get anywhere near the 85 that they've been offered. But that's my personal opinion.
Are you taking more calls?
Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning. Quick question.
Yeah.
I have a mortgage in a house. I have cash saved up to pay it off free and clear. What is the best way to send them the funds to them? The certified check.
You need to contact them because you need to get a discharge of mortgage that will be recorded with the Register of Deeds. Contact the lender, say, look, I'm ready to pay this off. I'm assuming you've got a mortgage that does not contain any prepayment penalty. Is this a residential mortgage?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no prepayment penalty.
Okay, you've been in it more than 3 years, so okay. So there's no prepayment penalty. You contact them and you make arrangements to make payment in full in return for the discharge. They may send you a copy of the discharge and send the original direct to the Register of Deeds, or they may send you the original discharge and then you can record it. But contact them, let them know what you're doing so that you get that discharge. Because a lot of banks, once you make the final payment, you'll find out that it just sort of gets lost in the shuffle, and 10 years later somebody's looking around for that discharge of mortgage when you go to sell. So contact them.
And that's what I'm sort of worried about. It's just writing a check, sending it out to them, and waiting to see if they ever send everything back.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing. It won't have to be a certified check. What'll happen is you'll send them your normal check, you'll do the payment, then once it clears the bank, they'll send you the discharge. But coordinate it with them first.
Can he contact a title company to help him with that?
He doesn't need a title company to do that. The title company may want to charge him. He doesn't need to do that. It's a real simple thing. You just contact the bank, say, I'm paying it off, give me the discharge.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was very interesting. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thanks, Bill. Driving in from South Dakota.
I live to serve.
And did you go to McGovern's funeral while you were out there?
I did not go to his funeral, but I was very sorry to read of his death. And he was highly, highly regarded in South Dakota. All the flags were at half-mast. Really, some of the best people in the world, by the way, live in South Dakota. I say that. This was the 33rd year in a row that I've gone to South Dakota pheasant hunting. Unfortunately, I had to drive instead of fly, but that's the way that it goes.
He was trying to get the big dog to go with him, but apparently
Yeah.
he's so busy hunting that he couldn't squeak that
I
one
think his
in.
allotment of hunting trips is over for
Pretty
the
much
year.
done for the year. But it was a wonderful trip, and we always have a good time.
Okay, well, I've got a new listing at 6993 Brown Road, which is Springport Schools. I got to tell you, that's got to be one of the prettiest drives, especially right now with the colors changing. So go out, look at the colors, and stop in and check out this house. It's 164.9, built in 2006. Full walkout basement. It's 2-bedroom, but you've got a lot of room in that lower level, lots of windows to add some more bedrooms. 2 full baths. It's over 1,700 square feet. Great house. So come take a look. They would entertain a short-term land contract. And then we've had a price reduction on a great house at 110 North Thompson. 64.9. Dropped that $5,000. That's a 3-bedroom, has a master bath, all brand new. You walk in and you probably don't even have to clean. You can move right in. Everything's new, right down to the studs. Electrical, plumbing, new flooring, drywall, everything. So come take a look at that one. That's what I've got. And we don't have any open houses, huh?
Guess not.
No? Jackie says no open houses this weekend. Just beautiful. I'll have to go somewhere with my husband and look at the leaves fall, or if you
So-
want me
so-
to list your house, call me, and I'll be happy to meet with you on Sunday.
Sorry, I'm tied up.
See you next week.